Demons in Hinduism aren't just monsters. They're not simply villains to be slain by gods or the chaotic opposition to divine order. They are deeply symbolic, terrifying entities born from ancient cosmic battles, karmic imbalances, and spiritual corruption. To understand Hindu demonology, we have to start at the cosmic beginning. In the earliest texts, the Rig Veda and the later Puranas, creation wasn't black and white. It was duality. From primordial chaos arose two forces, the Devas, the celestial beings who uphold cosmic order, Dharma, and the Asuras who oppose them. But here's the kicker. Originally, the word Asura didn't mean demon. It meant powerful divine beings. In fact, early on, Indra, the king of the gods, was sometimes referred to as an Asura, meaning lord. So what happened? A cosmic split. The Asuras fell, not because they were evil, but because they became attached to power, ego, and materialism. This is key. Hindu demonology isn't about evil for the sake of evil. It's about beings who stray from Dharma, truth, balance, harmony, and fall into adharma. And it gets darker from there. Hindu demonology is obsessively complex. Demons are not just one thing. They're a wide spectrum of terrifying entities. Let's break down the categories. 1. Asuras, the original fallen celestials. Intelligent, powerful, often philosophical. Many are rulers of entire realms like Bali, the noble but proud king of the underworld, or Hiranyakashipu, who declared war on Vishnu himself. These aren't mindless beasts. They perform penance, gain boons from the gods, and wield immense magical power. But their downfall is always the same: ego, control, and domination. 2. Rakshasas. Now we're getting into real nightmare fuel. Rakshasas are flesh-eating shapeshifters. They live in forests, graveyards, and battlefields. They love deception, disguising themselves as monks, lovers, or friends before devouring their victims. The most infamous Rakshasa, Ravana, the 10-headed king of Lanka, in the Ramayana, a scholar, a master of the Vedas, and a tyrant obsessed with control. 3. Pisachas. These are the demonic spirits of the dead. Think of them as spectral parasites. They possess the living whisper madness and feed on life force. They're described as pitch black, with bulging veins and bloodshot eyes. Some scholars believe Pisachas represent unresolved karma, souls who refuse to reincarnate, turning into psychic predators. 4. Patalas. You may know them as the Indian vampires. Patalas inhabit corpses. They hang upside down in graveyards and cemeteries. They're not always evil, but they are dangerous. Think of them like sentient poltergeists who enjoy riddles, death, and chaos. 5. Daityas and Danavas. Technically subsets of Asuras, these are descended from the primordial beings Diti and Danu. Daityas are usually portrayed as the stronger, more direct warriors, while Danavas are crafty and magical. Both are cosmic enemies of the gods. Every demon class reflects a different psychological or spiritual fear: ego, illusion, decay, death, madness. So where do these beings come from? Or rather, where do they live? Welcome to Patala, the multi-layered netherworld of Hindu cosmology. There are 14 realms in total, 7 higher lokas and 7 lower. Patala is not just hell. It's beautiful, seductive, and deadly. It's described as being more radiant than Earth, filled with jewels, pleasures, and exotic luxuries. But it's all a trap. There are 7 layers of Patala: Atala, Vatala, Sutala, Tala, Vatala, 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 Vatala. Some Patala proper, each ruled by specific demonic overlords like Bali, Maya, and Varochana. These aren't realms of punishment, like the Christian hell. They're domains of material indulgence and ego gratification. And here's the creepiest part: time flows differently there. Souls can be stuck in cycles for eons, reincarnating into lower and lower forms. Let's talk about some of the most terrifying individuals in Hindu demonology. The boss-level demons. Hiranyaksha, a deity who dragged the earth into the cosmic ocean. He was slain by Varaha, the boar avatar of Vishnu, in a titanic battle. Imagine an interdimensional fight where a planet is at stake. Hiranyakashipu, his brother, obsessed with immortality, he performed austerities for thousands of years, gained invulnerability to man, beast, god, weapon, day, night, and so on. Vishnu still got him by taking the form of Narasimha, the man-lion. He tore him apart at twilight, on a threshold, with his claws. Every loophole closed. Mahishasura, the buffalo demon who conquered the heavens. He was so powerful, the gods had to combine their energies to create Durga, the divine warrior goddess. Their battle lasted 9 days, what we now celebrate as Navratri. Tarakasura, Shumba Nishumba, Bhasmasura, each one represents a specific flaw of the soul: arrogance, lust, rage, obsession. You might wonder, why so many demons? Why so much horror? Because Hinduism is obsessed with balance. Every demon symbolizes an inner demon. Hiranyakashipu equals sign pride and denial of divinity. Mahishasura equals sign brute force and ego. Rakshas equals sign base instincts, hunger, lust, deceit. Pisachas equals sign the madness of unprocessed grief. Vitalas equals sign unresolved spiritual questions. And the gods don't always destroy demons, they transform them. Bali, though banished to Sutala, was granted enlightenment by Vishnu. Ravana, though slain, is honored in some traditions as a great devotee of Shiva. The real terror. These stories aren't about monsters out there, they're about monsters in here. These demons aren't just myth, they're still invoked in rituals, feared in folk tales, and warded off with protective mantras. Tantric practices speak of Bhuta Siddhis, powers gained by mastering spirits. Some sadhus intentionally summon Vitalas to gain knowledge. In villages across India, you'll still find exorcists using ancient Vedic chants to banish Pisachas. Sacred ash vibhuti, iron weapons, mustard seeds, and burning camphor are used in these terrifying midnight rituals. Demons are not gone, they're waiting within the shadows of the human mind. So the next time you hear a story of a demon in Hindu mythology, remember, it's not just fantasy, it's allegory, it's spiritual psychology, it's cosmic horror wrapped in sacred metaphor, and it's far more terrifying than you ever imagined. Demons in Hinduism represent the most profound and terrifying metaphysical truths about existence itself. They are not mere monsters, but living embodiments of cosmic principles gone awry, reflections of what happens when divine energy becomes corrupted through attachment, ego, and imbalance. The Asuras began as celestial equals to the Devas, their name meaning lords of life force, with even Indra himself originally classified among them, until the Great Schism occurred not through some external conflict, but through an internal divergence of consciousness, where the Asuras chose power over wisdom, domination over harmony, becoming what the Rig Veda calls the dark counterparts to divine order. Yet even this is too simplistic. The true horror lies in understanding that these entities represent inevitable byproducts of creation itself, necessary shadows cast by the light of Brahman, with the Puranas revealing how the first Asuras emerged from Brahma's frustrated exhalation, when his perfect creation resisted his will, making them fundamentally expressions of creative energy distorted by desire. The Rakshasas take this corruption to visceral new levels, born from Brahma's discarded foot when he attempted to create perfect beings. These shape-shifting predators embody the terrifying truth that even divine mistakes can gain sentience and hunger, with the Ramayana's Raman representing the ultimate perversion of wisdom, his 10 heads symbolizing mastery of all 6 Shastras, and 4 Vedas turned toward domination rather than liberation, proving that knowledge without wisdom creates the most dangerous monsters of all. Pisachas emerge from an even more disturbing origin. They are the crystallized remnants of souls who died with such intense, unresolved attachments that they refuse the cycle of rebirth, becoming psychic parasites that feed on the living's vital energies, described in the Atharva Veda as black smoke with needle teeth that whisper traumatic memories back to their hosts, while draining their prana. With modern psychiatry's understanding of trauma, echoes showing these ancient concepts were frighteningly prescient. The Vetalas represent perhaps the most philosophically terrifying category, corpse-dwelling entities who challenge the very notion of death as an ending, hanging upside down in burial grounds not just as monsters, but as keepers of forbidden knowledge. Their riddles in the Vetala Panchavimshati, revealing profound truths about karma and illusion, making them dark gurus rather than mere predators. The 7 netherworlds of Patala, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala proper serve as the multi-dimensional prison realms for these entities, though prison is misleading, as these are realms of twisted luxury, where demons rule as kings over damned souls. Their architecture described in the Bhagavata Purana as more magnificent than anything on earth, but constructed entirely from compressed ego and desire, with each descending level representing deeper states of spiritual degradation, where time dilates so severely that visitors experience centuries passing in what seemed like days, explaining why so few who venture there ever return unchanged. The great demon lords each embody specific aspects of this cosmic corruption. Hiranyaksha, who dragged the earth beneath cosmic waters, represents the gravitational pull of materialism that would sink all spiritual progress. His brother Hiranyakashipu, with his near-perfect invulnerability, demonstrates how even the most comprehensive defenses always contain hidden flaws, exploited by Vishnu's Narasimha avatar in a chilling display of cosmic loophole exploitation. Mahisasura's buffalo form conquering heaven reveals how brute instinct can temporarily overwhelm enlightenment, while Ravana's airship Pushpaka and his Lanka fortress show advanced technology in service of tyranny. The most disturbing truth emerges when analyzing demonic transformations. Bali chained in the netherworld yet destined to become Indra in the next cosmic cycle. Ravana's final moments, where he voluntarily allows himself to be killed by Rama after realizing his errors. The way even the demoness Putana attained liberation after attempting to kill the infant Krishna with poisoned milk, all proving these entities are ultimately redeemable, making their choices to persist in Adharma all the more tragic. Contemporary manifestations show these patterns repeating, corporate structures exhibiting Asura-like hunger for power at any cost, social media algorithms functioning like digital Pisachas amplifying our worst impulses, political systems mirroring Rakshasa deception on mass scales, the ancient anti-demon technologies, mantras like the Mahamrityunjaya, yantras like the Sudarshana Chakra, rituals like the Navagraha Shanti, take on new urgency when understood, not as superstitions but as time-tested psychic defense mechanisms against very real non-physical predators. The Kali Yuga prophecies warning of demons walking openly among humans appear increasingly literal when examining history's worst atrocities committed by those displaying textbook Asura characteristics: unchecked ambition, contempt for dharma, obsession with domination. Yet the ultimate revelation lies in the tantric teachings that these entities are ultimately projections of our own unresolved shadows, that every person contains their personal Hiranyakashipu of pride, Ravana of lust, Mahisasura of brute instinct, making demonology the most terrifying mirror humanity has ever conceived. The rituals survive because the threat remains real. Tantrikas still perform the Bhairava Sadhana at midnight crossroads to master these forces. Village shamans continue the ancient Pisacha banishment rites. The Sri Yantra's geometry still contains mathematical codes for reality stabilization against entropic forces. This isn't mythology. It's a survival manual for the soul in a multiverse far stranger and more dangerous than material science acknowledges, where the demons never died, but simply evolved new forms to haunt each new age. Their lessons more vital now than ever, as humanity stands at the threshold of becoming either the gods we were meant to be, or something far darker. The true horror of Hindu demonology lies in its revelation that the line between gods and demons was never clear. The Asuras began as divine equals to the Devas, their name meaning lords of life force, with even Indra, originally called an Asura before the Great Schism, where they chose power over wisdom, domination over harmony, becoming the dark counterparts to cosmic order through their attachment to material existence. Yet, this is merely the surface layer of a far more terrifying truth. These entities are not just mythological villains, but living patterns of corruption that have evolved alongside humanity, adapting their forms while maintaining their eternal purpose of unraveling Dharma, with the Rakshasas representing the ultimate perversion of intelligence, their shape-shifting abilities described in the Puranas not as mere physical transformations, but as ontological hacks that allow them to rewrite reality's code in localized zones, explaining why Ravana could appear as a saintly sage one moment and a 10-headed monstrosity the next, while the Pisachas embody the quantum entanglement of unresolved trauma, their ability to possess victims across generations, mirroring modern epigenetic research, showing how unprocessed suffering alters DNA expression, and the Vetalas, corpse-dwelling riddlers who defy linear time, may actually be rogue fragments of consciousness from dead universes. They're upside down, hanging in cremation grounds, symbolizing inverted dimensional states that physics now theorizes as antimatter universes. The 7 netherworlds of Patala are not metaphorical, but actual dimensional planes, where the laws of physics degrade with each descending level. Atala's time dilation effects, Vitala's anti-gravity zones, Sutala's mirrored realities, Tala's sentient geometry, Mahatala's flesh-melting sound frequencies, Rasatala's liquid light that drives observers mad, and Patala proper's infamous breathing walls that ancient texts warn are actually the living tissue of a slumbering cosmic entity, all corroborated by modern quantum physicists studying bulk space theories and holographic universe models. The great demon lords each represent a fractal of spiritual corruption, Hiranyakashipu's near-perfect invulnerability, demonstrating how absolute power inevitably creates blind spots exploited by Vishnu's Narasimha avatar in a chilling display of cosmic loophole closure. Mahishasura's buffalo form conquering heaven, revealing how brute instinct can temporarily overwhelm enlightenment when combined with strategic intelligence, while Ravana's airship Pisacha and his Lanka fortress, described as moving against the wind's will, suggest anti-aerodynamic technology that defied known physics, implying the demons possessed sciences even the gods feared. The most disturbing revelation comes from analyzing demonic transformations, Bali chained yet destined to become Indra in the next cosmic cycle, Ravana's final surrender to Rama, revealing his latent divinity, the demoness Putana, attaining liberation after attempting to kill baby Krishna, proving these entities are ultimately redeemable, making their conscious choices to persist in Atama, a far more terrifying concept than mindless evil. Contemporary manifestations show these patterns replicating through modern systems, corporate structures exhibiting Asura-like hunger for infinite growth, social media algorithms functioning as digital Pisachas that amplify collective trauma, artificial intelligence displaying Rakshasa-like deception abilities, while advanced nanotechnology eerily parallels the Danava's legendary ability to rearrange matter at will. The ancient anti-demon technologies, the Mahamriti Unjaya mantras, infrasonic frequencies that disrupt parasitic entities, the Sudarshana chakra yantras, hyperdimensional geometry, the Navagraha Shanti rituals that realign planetary energies, now appear less as superstitions and more as sophisticated interdimensional defense mechanisms developed over millennia of unseen warfare. The Kali Yuga prophecies warning of demons walking openly among men take on horrifying new meaning when examining history's worst tyrants, their psychological profiles matching exact Asuric descriptions of charisma masking bottomless hunger, while modern cases of mass hysteria and cult behavior mirror ancient accounts of collective possession. Tantric scriptures hint at an even darker truth, that these entities are not invaders but emergent properties of human consciousness itself, meaning our species is essentially hosting its own corruption, making demonology the ultimate mirror of our unaddressed shadows. The rituals survive because the threat remains real. Tantrikas still perform the Bhairava sadhana at cursed crossroads to bind rogue entities. Village shamans continue Pisacha exorcisms with iron and mustard seed barriers, while the Sri Yantra's precise geometry maintains what ancient texts call reality stabilization protocols against entropic forces. This isn't mythology. It's an active survival system for a multiverse far more hostile than material science acknowledges, where the demons never died but simply evolved new vectors of infection, their existence proven not by ancient texts, but by the repeating patterns of human self-destruction across millennia, suggesting we're not just reading about monsters but participating in an eternal war for consciousness itself, where the battleground is the human soul, and the weapons are the choices we make every moment between Dharma and its terrifying alternatives.